Etude number one provides an excellent opportunity for us to work on learning a technique about the bow that incorporates three different bow strokes, one of them being the control spiccato, which will be used mostly on the D string and G string notes. We also have the brush stroke that we will use mostly on the A string notes to create the most beautiful sound, even if all the notes have officially a dot on top. And the third bow stroke will be used when we have low notes such as these, because we want to make sure the notes get to sound good and the string is engaged. So the combination of all these strokes provide the kind of bow technique that we can develop, and we will individually decide when to use each stroke so we can equalize the beauty of the sound throughout. We also can use this etude to develop our musical imagination. If we play it strict in a metronomic fashion, it's not going to be, to me, as interesting for ourselves, first of all, when we practice. So I'd like to always add a bit of freedom and therefore adjust the bow stroke accordingly, so I can combine these two things together when I work on my presentation. Right here where I just arrived, I can point out another need for us to be aware of, with the need to work on expressive intonation. Bar number 20 and 21 are very good examples of how, if we practice slowly, we can focus on developing the intonation that would have a slightly sharper sharps, slightly flatter flats, very, very small, clear half steps, and also leading tones that are a bit higher. And when we practice slowly and focus on these details, later when we practice faster, we have this already incorporated in our muscle memory. So this is an example of how I would work on expressive intonation in bar number 20 and 21. Since we are here, we can also talk about shifting or finding notes in the middle of nowhere by using a particular technical, mechanical solution, as opposed to just repeating something hoping to get better. In this case, in bar number 20, the B flat can be found by tapping the left hand first before the bow arrives. This way we teach the left hand to independently find a note in the middle of nowhere by itself. The next one is a shift that can also have a technical solution. What I do for security, I go to a guide finger A very softly, then I articulate the C. The next shift is very similar, just different notes. I go to the top D via a B natural first finger, and as I go faster, I'll be exactly doing the same thing at just a little higher speed. The next passage is very important to talk about, because it's an opportunity for us to establish a very clear disciplined hand frame with prearranged intervals, and also keeping the fingers down as much as possible for security. there's another little detail to discuss. How do we get from that position to the next position safely? As I just demonstrated, I like to use a very soft left-hand pizzicato to find the F before I continue. The next passage has some interesting harmonic progression, so it's good to play it slightly held back. As you see, every time I go to a note in the middle of nowhere, I use the same kind of idea of tapping the finger before the bow arrives, so I have a security method that I use as opposed to just practicing until it gets better. The last little detail I like to discuss is that we have in Popper etudes often a pattern that gradually goes step by step lower or higher, and the hand gets progressively bigger or smaller. What is important in any such situation is that we don't think note by note, but we develop a hand frame that stays the same throughout the whole passage.